Yes, it's true. It's true. It's true. You can put the rumors to bed now. Your assumptions are correct. I am indeed pregnant, as you can see from the title. Give me like guys. Give me like a spot. I'm pregnant. Give me it. I'm with child. Can you believe it? I feel like I'm so young for this. I feel like I'm a teenager and like I'm so unprepared for this. But it's happening. It's happening, guys. I am so, so pregnant. As I shoot this, I'm like literally a few days away from my 8th month in pregnancy, guys. I'm 31 weeks and some days, and I am huge. As I get closer and closer to my due date, I get, I don't want to say ugly, but I change a lot, and my physical appearance is changing, and I'm losing my self-confidence. And so I felt really cute today after installing this beautiful unit, as you might have watched a month or so ago. And I thought, let me shoot this video so that I can post it when I'm ready. If you are watching this, please know that I've either given birth or I'm really close to giving birth. You won't know until you actually know. So I want to start by sharing why I decided to keep my pregnancy private. It wasn't necessarily a secret, it was more private than it was a secret. Those of you who saw me face to face saw me face to face. Those of you who found out however you found out, you found out however you found out. But I preferred to just keep it off social media and off YouTube for my peace sake. I honestly initially didn't expect to keep my pregnancy private for this long. I thought at around 5-6 months I will start sharing, but I did not anticipate how sensitive I was actually going to become. I realized in the early stages that I was hormonal and emotional, but I didn't realize how much, like, how I would actually feel. Like, I feel everything more than I've ever felt it in my life. If I'm disappointed, I feel disappointed. If I'm happy, I feel happy. So I realized along the way that I actually need to keep this private for as long as I can, because then that will give me the opportunity to enjoy my pregnancy. As a content creator, as a YouTuber, as a girl from a small town, as a girl who's pretty well known in the town, sometimes I get some nasty DMs from fake accounts telling me nonsense, telling me where to get off, telling me, dissing my character, dissing my life, dissing my content. And under normal circumstances, I just shake it off, I block, and I move on. But I knew that under these circumstances where I'm vulnerable and I'm sensitive and everything means so much to me, I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle those type of accounts DMing me and telling me whatever they wish to tell me, because there are a lot of evil people here. Satan has a few agents that he deploys every now and then to ruin people's days, and really they go out of their way. So I was just like, you know what? I want to avoid that, first of all. Secondly, pregnancy is very sacred, you guys. It is so sensitive. Anything can happen. Thankfully, and I'm so grateful for God's grace, I have not had a high risk pregnancy at all, but a lot of women do. Anything can happen. A miscarriage can happen. You can get sick. You can go through depression, prenatal depression. There's so many things that go through, that a woman goes through while she's pregnant, and therefore I didn't want to be exposed that I'm pregnant and then have myself falling into under one of those categories. Thankfully, I did not. I had I'm having a very smooth pregnancy. So yeah, those are some of the reasons why I decided to keep it private and not tell you guys until such a time that I was absolutely ready or pretty much done with my pregnancy. So I'm sorry if you guys felt left out, but I would love to say thank you so much to my regulars, the certified members of my squad, for respecting my privacy. I mean, it was pretty obvious at some point, this person is gaining some kind of suspicious weight. Okay, because those of you who know me know that I would never let my cheeks get this big. You guys know that I diet, I exercise, I try to keep myself in shape, and I've done so for a consistent amount of years. And therefore, for me to be the Oompa Loompa, cute but Oompa Loompa that I am right now, it's definitely out of character. It's definitely not normal. And you guys, regardless of noticing all of that, you guys didn't say anything. There were only a few rotten eggs that decided to ask me, you look like you're baking. You look like you're expecting And to be honest, I never replied to any of those texts or any of those messages, because I just felt like it is not just anyone's place to be able to ask me that. I mean, even people who I call my friends, I took my time to tell them about my pregnancy. There's only a few people that knew instantly. Others had to wait to find out from me when I was ready. So there's no way that I'm going to divulge or confirm that type of information to someone whom I only interact with via social media. It's too sacred, it's too sensitive, it's too precious to me, especially because I wanted to keep it as private as possible. So thank you guys for respecting me. I know that the last couple of videos were pretty obvious. It was like, oh my gosh, she's definitely pregnant. But a lot of you really held your own, and you were disciplined enough to wait for me to share the news as I am right now. Now you can say, darling, nah, shogutile mbungulule. Khona phezulu." So how did I find out? Okay, so I found out, guys, I think it was like an instinctive thing that I felt in my spirit. There's something going on here, because I had no symptoms whatsoever. I had no reason to really freak out and say, oh my word, I'm pregnant. I remember, was it a week, maybe 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant, I had what I thought was at the time a period, but it actually wasn't. It was, now that I know, it was implantation bleeding, which happens when the egg attaches itself to the uterus. The fertilized egg attaches itself to the uterus. So I remember 2 weeks before I had that implantation bleeding, telling my friends, I think my period might be late, and we laughed about it. But I was like, Mina, there's no way I'm pregnant. And Zanele was like, oh, I wish you were pregnant. And now looking back, I'm like, girl, be careful the words that you speak with your mouth, because look at me now. I'm pregnant. So yeah, I found out. I was at Pip, right? I was doing a paxi for a customer, couriering an item from Style 013, and I saw these pregnancy tests from Pride. It is a very cheap brand that they sell at Pip. So I decided to buy one. I don't know what prompted me to buy one. I decided to buy one. And then I put it in my handbag and I forgot about it. It was a Friday. And then on the Sunday, I was at home alone, bored. And I remember looking for some moisturizer, something to moisturize my lips with. So I reach into my handbag and try to find something to moisturize my lips with. And I spot the pregnancy test. And I'm like, oh, Konja, I bought this. Let me take it just for fun, because, there's no way I'm pregnant. So I go into the bathroom, I pee into a cup, I dip the pregnancy test into the pee, and I look at it, and there's only one line, and I'm like, yangazi mina, bangibiza uphunyuka baphethe. I was like, there's absolutely no way it was ever going to be the case. Nah, gimithe mina, never. So anyway, I put the piece of paper on my desk here, and I go back into bed. I was watching Netflix, I remember. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and then I'm gonna discard of it properly. How I chill back in bed, I'm watching Netflix. Later on, I get up and I'm like, oh, let me discard of this thing, and I grab it, and guys, lo and behold, there's another very faint, very light, but definitely another second line, and I want to literally die. Okay, I literally almost died instantly. So I'm like, okay, I remember I texted, okay, I'm gonna refer to the father of my child as daddy. And then I texted daddy, and I was like, I think I might be pregnant, but this is a very cheap pregnancy test. I'm gonna need us to go and buy another one so that we can confirm if ever this is the real deal. Right, so daddy's like, no, right now I'm preoccupied and I'm quite far from home. Can you wait for me to come back? I will come back as soon as I can. I'm like, okay, cool, daddy. I chill. And then the paranoia sinks in, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to wait for you. I call a cab. I go to Spar. I buy myself a clear blue test, not the digital one, the other one. And I pee on it. And guys, lo and behold, OX ongasolveki. I wanted to scream and shout and all of that. I really did not know how to feel. The baby wasn't planned. I wasn't planning to get pregnant. Or as much as my baby wasn't planned, my baby was very much wanted. I will get into that. But at the time, I just wasn't in the space, and I wasn't planning it. I've always thought that I would be the mom whose first child would be absolutely planned. It was just a desire of mine, but it didn't happen that way. So I kind of freaked out, and and sent daddy a picture of the second test, and he was like, "Oh my word, okay, I'm driving back." So he didn't really comment on the situation. He's just like, he's coming back. He comes back, we meet up, and he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, I took two tests, so it's pretty much like a done deal. We're definitely having a baby." And he's like, "Okay, okay." Okay, you know what, let's go to the doctor tomorrow to get a final confirmation, and then we'll see how we handle the situation. So we were both trying to be as neutral as possible because, like I said, we had not planned this, and so we didn't want to overwhelm each other with emotions, so we were both very, very neutral about it. The next day we went to the doctor, we took another urine test, and the doctor came back into the room and said, "Well, congratulations, you guys, you're definitely having a baby." And I remember we looked at each other like, "Ah, thank you, doc." Thank you. And we really didn't know how to react, but it was at that time kind of a little bit funny, you know. And the doctor referred us to a lab where we could go and do blood tests. So that's what we did next. We did blood tests, and I remember when we left the lab, we got into the car, and he put his hand on my thigh, and he said, "Hey, we're having a baby." And I said, "Yeah, we're having a baby." And we laughed. And from that moment on, I think that's when the excitement started to kick in. We started naming the baby. We started coming up with names. If it's a girl, if it's a boy, we started joking around. The baby better look like you. The baby better look like me, and whatever else. And I think from that day on, um we slowly and surely started to build up excitement up to this day where we just cannot wait to meet our child. So who did I tell? This one was a very sensitive kind of it was sensitive news. I really didn't, because especially on the first day when I found out, when I took those two tests, I did not know how I felt, so I didn't know who to tell. And I remember that whole weekend, Blessed and I were talking, like we were just talking about everything else. She was catching me up on her life, I was catching her up on my life. And so when I took the second test, immediately after I sent it to daddy, I sent it to her as well. And I was so shook at her response. She was literally so excited for me. She's like, "B, we're having a baby. It's about time." And she was so excited. I was like, "B, but this is unplanned. B, I'm not married. I've always wanted to have a child in marriage. I wanted to be a wife before a mother." And I told her all those things. And she's like, "Well, this is how it's happening. You know, God would not just give you a child. This is a blessing. Celebrate it. Stop stressing. Everything's going to be okay." And I am so glad. B, I know you're watching. I'm so glad that you were one of the first people. You're actually the first person, other than the daddy. You were the first person that I told, because you told me exactly what I needed to hear. Anyone else maybe might have reacted otherwise or asked probing questions, but you did not. You gave me all the courage, and um, you gave me all the motivation that I needed. And then I told my mom, because she was in the house. She also didn't really know how to react, because she was trying to read my face as well. She was neutral about it. But as we speak right now, she's so excited. She cannot wait to start buying baby clothes. By the way, we do not know the gender. We're gonna have a gender reveal party, which I hope to vlog for you guys as well. And so they are really, really anxious to know the gender so they can start buying baby clothes. And then I told my sister, she was not at home. She was away with her friend, so I didn't want to disturb her. Balisa the same, she was with her sister for like a little sister vacation, and so I didn't want to disturb them. And they were sort of the last to know, and those are the only people that I told. I think it was just people that was like on one hand that I could fit the people that I told, and they were all so excited for me. It was actually so annoying. All of them said, "But you've been wanting a baby." And I was shook by that response, because yes, I've been broody over the last 2 years, but everyone knew that more than anything, I wanted to be a wife before I became a mother. So I'm glad that no one really rubbed that in my face. Because how Pelele ngeplan lakho lokuba umfazi kuqala, you know, but everyone was just genuinely excited for me. And I remember my big sister, she was, I remember her words more than anything, because I told her face to face, and she said this with her eyes sparkling with tears. She said, "You're gonna be such an amazing mother. I've seen you love my kids." I'm actually getting emotional. She said, "I've seen you love my kids so much, and the way that you interact with Popsy, it just shows that you're ready for motherhood. You're gonna be such an amazing mom." And yeah, from that day onwards, just it's been excitement. It's been excitement galore. So yeah, I told those few people, and I decided, please, I told them, please, we're keeping it secret. I'm keeping it off social media. I don't want a lot of people to know. I want to enjoy my pregnancy for as long as possible. When I'm ready to share, I will share. Daddy and I agreed on that, and we kept it as private as possible. So yeah, that's how I found out that I'm gonna be somebody's mom, you guys. Like literally, there was a point, I think it was in my first trimester, towards the end of my first trimester, because that's when the emotions start to vurvai you. They start to really, you start to feel it, you know. I remember feeling a little bit of depression, and it was so out of character for me because I'm such an optimistic person. I'm such a positive person. I always try to look at the silver lining. And I remember feeling so down in the dumps, like, I can't believe I'm pregnant. I can't believe I'm not married. I can't believe my career is only in the baby stages. I can't afford this. I never wanted this for myself. You know, I really was hard on myself. And I remember telling Blessed about it, and she said, "B, do you understand that everything you're feeling now is just you overthinking, first of all, and it's the pregnancy hormones that are making you feel the way that you are, because I know you're not like this. You are never one person to talk about the negative of any situation. So please calm down, pray, and know that you are carrying a blessing." And I remember feeling so encouraged. And soon after I had that conversation with B, I was writing in my journal. And as I was done writing, because I was doing my Bible study in the morning, and I was done writing, and I flipped my journal to the first page, not really intentionally, but I flipped to the first page, and I saw my prayer requests for 2022. And guys, a baby was number 2. And I had forgotten about that. I literally asked God for a baby, but I asked God for a baby in marriage. I wanted to get married first and then have a baby. But to be real, I went and I participated in marital affairs before marriage. So how can I? So I was interrupted by load shedding. I literally feel sad for my baby, that he or she is going to be born in a country where we just run out of electricity out of nowhere on a daily basis, and it's normal. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, as I was saying, I wanted to have a baby in marriage, but I was participating in premarital relations, and therefore, how can I be shocked if I have a product of marriage whereas I'm not in marriage, right? So with that being said, I really want to encourage, it's going to sound hypocritical, it's going to sound counterintuitive, it's going to sound contradictory for me to say this, but I would really like to encourage abstinence. If you don't want to be a baby mama, you want to be a wife before becoming a mom, abstain. It's the only 100% sure way that you will not get pregnant or not be in my situation. I'm not saying now my life is over, or I'm devastated, or I'm damaged goods. There's so many of us that are, even some of you that are watching me right now, that you were born out of wedlock. You know, most of us were unplanned. But I believe that we live in a generation where we are in control. And the best way to avoid being in a situation like this, especially if you're not ready, is to abstain. And if you don't choose to abstain, then make sure that you use the contraceptives properly, unlike some of us. It's actually a funny story. I think it was probably the weekend in which I conceived my angel baby. I actually went to Clicks to get an emergency contraceptive, and I don't know why suddenly Clicks, You need a DNA test, an affidavit, a three-page paragraph explaining why you want the emergency contraceptive. But I remember we were still wearing masks at the time in South Africa, and I got to the counter and I filled in the form requesting a emergency contraceptive. And I remember the pharmacist who was assisting me said, wait, aren't you everybody's big sister? And I was like, yeah, and she's like, oh my god, I love your content, I watch your vlogs. I was just like, not sure if it's you, but now that I see your ID, because I had to give her my ID, I see that it's you. I love you so much. And I was like, oh, thanks, babe. But for the first time ever, I was not happy to meet a member of the squad, because I don't want the squad knowing my business like that. That is just like too personal, you know what I mean? But I guess it comes with the territory. Yeah. Now let's get into the overall experience of my pregnancy, first trimester, second trimester. As I shoot this, I'm in the middle of my third trimester, so just gonna give you guys a recap of how I felt throughout the last few trimesters. So in my first trimester, to be honest, guys, there's really not much to share. I really did not have any issues or complications. To this day, I do not recall a day where I was sick, I was bedridden, I was nauseated, I was dizzy. I've had the smoothest pregnancy thus far. First trimester, obviously the first trimester fatigue gets to you, your body's adjusting, your body's making a human being. It's a lot of work, and so it takes a toll on you. So I think those of you who are observant or are more yeah, observant, to be quite frank, you might have noticed that during the period of August, September, I was very, very unproductive. I wasn't posting much. That's because I had fatigue and I really was not energetic. I did not want anything to do with content or working or any kind of activity, really. I was barely going out. I was just basically just giving into the fatigue and sleeping and napping and resting most of the time. Fortunately, I wasn't sick, like I said, so that's the only thing that I experienced from the first trimester. Obviously, the frequent urination, you can't avoid that one. I had a little bit of lower back pain, but it was really nothing to rave about. As far as cravings or food aversions go, my cravings were pretty basic. It's stuff that I would normally crave even if I wasn't pregnant. I craved a lot of sweet things. I remember for the first, I think, 3 to 4 weeks of my pregnancy, like of finding out about my pregnancy, daddy had to drop off like a Woolies cake almost every Sunday because that was the one thing that I was craving more than anything. And then it was just normal junk food. I remember there was a week where I was craving yogurt almost every day. I didn't buy it almost every day because that would be very unhealthy, but there were times where I would give in to the craving. I was obsessed with uputu. I was obsessed with uputu. There was a point in my first trimester, I think it was towards the last month of my first trimester, that I was having uputu almost 2 to 3 times a day. Yeah, I would literally cook putu once a day, almost every day. My mom was even calling Musi's putu because every day she would come back from work and find bodole putu, and it would normally be burned because we use a gas stove. And one thing about gas stove, you will burn stuff. If you need stuff to slow cook, do not use a gas stove. So my mom would graciously clean the pot for me, and next day she would find the same story again. I was obsessed with uputu. The one food item that I really didn't want anything to do with was chicken. Like, I wanted nothing to do with chicken. All forms, all types, roasted, grilled, fried, nothing to do with chicken. So the funny part about those two particular food items, uputu and chicken, is that uputu is daddy's favorite food, like literally top 3 favorite foods, and chicken is down there with his least favorite foods. He eats chicken from Nando's, he tolerates it, and he eats chicken from KFC for the skin, not the actual chicken. So it was so hilarious to know that I was craving something that he loved and I hated something that he also hates. It was so funny. When I told my mom about it, she had a really good laugh about it. So that was basically the first trimester. My belly was tiny. I still had a figure, guys. I remember On the 13th week, I was still wearing a crop top. Yeah, because I remember that that was the week where I had my first doctor's appointment. Oh, it was so special. And I saw my little Casper ghost. I mean, I remember when I came back from the doctor and I was showing my sisters the sonogram, and Busileto was like, "Oh, it's a little Casper the goat." And we laughed about it. And my baby's name was Casper for like 2 weeks or so. Second trimester, literally everything went back to normal. I started eating chicken again. I stopped being obsessed with the puto. I was still eating it, but I wasn't as obsessed. I got my energy back. I started exercising. I was doing Grow with Joe in the morning. If you remember from my vlogs, I was walking in the mornings because I wasn't showing much. I could get away with wearing a nice t-shirt that doesn't really hug my figure. I was energetic. I was back to normal. I was eating everything. Really, I was craving a few things, but nothing hectic. It was just, I wanted to eat nice things. I had a lot of sweet cravings, even up to today. It's sweet cravings. I know that you guys, as I mentioned some of these things, you're like, oh, it's a girl, it's a boy, it's a girl, it's a boy. We'll talk about that. So yeah, second trimester, there's nothing to tell, guys, other than the fact that I started to change. Physically, I started to get a darker neck. My neck is so dark. Um, and then I started obviously to have more of a belly, pronounced belly. But my belly is so respectful, even till to the day. Like I feel like it's big now, but still for a person who's almost 8 months pregnant, it's not that big. So I had a very nice gradually growing belly. I think only towards the 6th month is when I started to really have a pronounced belly and really look pregnant, and really couldn't hide it as easily as I could for the last few months. And then around month 7 is when I started to notice more changes on my face, my neck getting darker, my nose getting inflated by Lord knows what, my cheeks getting chubbier, my skin starting to be uneven. Like there's a lot going on. If you would see me without makeup, it's a very sad story, but we soldier on. It's part of the journey. So yeah, I'm in my third trimester now. I don't have any food aversions, unlike I did in the first trimester. I am extremely tired. I behave like a baby now. I bath, I nap, I eat, I nap, I do any activity, I nap, I cook, I nap. To be honest, I've been having a very smooth pregnancy. The only thing that has been really prominent or consistent is the fatigue that is expected. But I remember, but I have this app on my phone called Pregnancy. I'll put a logo of it on the screen, and it tells you daily what to expect, the development of your baby, the symptoms that you need to look out for, all of that pertinent information that relates to pregnancy. And some of the symptoms that they tell you to look out for, I'm like, people go through that. So yeah, pregnancy can be very traumatic. Some of the symptoms that I read about in this on this app, or even on the internet, even in books, it sounds like a woman go through a lot. And I've been fortunate and blessed enough, like honestly feeling like God's favorite, because I haven't experienced any of that. I've been having a smooth pregnancy. Even when I go for my appointments and my OBG asks are you experiencing this, are you experiencing this? No, 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 the whole time. So yeah, definitely God's fave. My child has been very, very kind to me. I haven't been experiencing any heavy symptoms. I will say though, just to share my thoughts on pregnancy, like I said, it can be a very traumatic experience depending on what kind of symptoms you experience. But in general, it is such a life altering thing. You genuinely have to be ready for this. This is why I'm saying, if you are not ready, or you have goals to do it in marriage, or you have goals to achieve first before becoming a mom, make sure that you take the necessary precautions. And the most recommended one would be abstinence from meat, to be honest. So I'm saying this because I look at my body every day, and every day there's a new change. I do not recognize my body, and I wouldn't, I'm a little bit vain, I'm a bit superficial. I love the way that I look. I take good care of myself, and I take pride in the way that I look. And also because of the career that I've chosen, I need to look good all the time. So pregnancy takes some of that superficial value away from you. I look at my body and I'm like, where is my waist? I look at my bum and I'm like, that is not the shape that I started with 8 months ago. I swear. I look at my face and I'm like, I've never seen my nose this inflated. I look at my neck and I'm like, what color is it? I look at my thighs and I see new stretch marks every now and then. And if I were not ready, or if were not emotionally mature enough for this part of my life, I would really be depressed. You know, yes, it's a beautiful experience. Yes, to feel my angel kicking and rolling and hiccuping and all of that. It is such a beautiful experience. I cannot even put it into words what it feels like when my baby moves and jiggles and I can feel it, when I speak to my baby and my baby responds with a kick, when I touch my belly and my baby responds with a kick. It's such a special feeling. But beyond that, there's so much going on physically that it could easily put someone who's not ready for this journey under some serious prenatal or even postnatal depression. So there's something that I feel like we need to plan for. And if you're going to engage in situations that might lead to pregnancy, at least make sure that you're ready. Like I said, I wasn't planning to be pregnant, but in almost every way, other than financially, to be honest, I felt and I still feel like I was so ready for this journey, because I look at myself and I don't recognize myself, but I still love myself and I still embrace this journey, and I'm still excited to meet this little person growing inside of me. And even if after giving birth I do not go back or snap back to the figure that I had, or the stretch marks don't go away, or the shape of my bum is never as plump as it used to be, I feel like I will still be content because I was ready, and this is something that I desired and prayed for. So that's really something to think about, because pregnancy will change your whole entire life. Also, just giving up your daily life, like I said, I kept it private. So that meant I wasn't as social as I'm used to. That meant I couldn't work the way that I'm normally, and that I normally work. I couldn't go to bookings to sing the way that I normally did. I couldn't wear whatever I wanted to wear. I couldn't consume whatever I want to consume. And therefore, that's why I'm saying it's life altering, and it doesn't stop here. For the next 18 to 21 years, I'm going to have to look after this little person. I'm going to have to love them, put them first, take care of them, provide for them. So it's a lifelong thing. It starts with 9 months, but it's a forever thing. So you really have to be ready for it. I feel like in the only aspect in which I'm not ready is the fact that I'm financially, I feel like I can only take care of myself. But by the grace of God, the father of my child has done well for himself, and he's fully present and he's playing his role in every way that he's supposed to. So my child will want for nothing. And besides the father of my child, God has been so good to me over the years. I trust him with all my might and all my soul to provide for me, because I've personally never lacked a thing, and I know that I will not start now. Speaking on that note, I have this ritual. You have to take your pregnancy supplements, right? I'm taking Preg Omega Plus, which is the most recommended pregnancy supplement, and it consists of 3 tablets. And with each tablet, I like to recite a Bible verse that I would like to become my child's reality, or my reality, throughout this pregnancy journey. Some of my favorites are, I'll put the exact way you can find that verse. Some of my favorites are, David in the book of Psalms says, I was young, now I am old, and I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor their children begging for bread. This declares my child will never be forsaken, and my child will want for nothing. Another one of my favorites that I used to recite in the early days a lot, I just still do, but in the early days it was more consistent. It says, none of you will be barren or miscarry in your land. I will give you a full and complete life. I like to recite Psalms. I think it's 46. It says, God is within her, she will not fail. I like to replace that with God is in that womb, it will not fail. God Himself will provide. Another one from Psalms 37 is they give freely and lend generously, and they give generously, sorry, and lend freely, and their children are a blessing. So everything that has to do with children, I will recite it when I take my pill. So with each pill, it is followed by a Bible verse. That's just been my prescription for my baby, because I believe that the Word of God can do as much as my pregnancy supplements can do. The Bible says that it is not by bread alone that a man shall live, but by the word spoken by God in the Bible. So that's why I have made it a ritual to do that for my baby. And I also have prayers written down for my babies. I have a prayer written down for myself throughout this pregnancy journey that I keep reciting. Is it fair to say you recite a prayer that I keep declaring? And I have a prayer for the father of my child as well that I keep declaring. And yeah, God has been faithful. You know, when I found out that I was pregnant, I wrote a prayer and I said, God, my pregnancy will not be high risk. I declare that my pregnancy will be healthy. I will not be sick all the time, and all my needs will be met. Medical, physical, financial, emotional needs will be met. This I declare, and God has been faithful. It's really, really been the case. I have lacked nothing from day one. But God has been faithful. You know, I've been able to do this as with as much wisdom as I possibly can, because I ask for it on a daily basis. I'm like, God, I've never been a mom before. I've never been pregnant before. Give me the wisdom to do this the way that you want me to do this, so that my child grows up in love, in a place of love, and experiences fullness of joy in this life. So yeah, that has been my journey so far, you guys. I will obviously update you guys once I've given birth, and I'll come back and do a sit down and tell you what my birth experience has been like. I'm really, 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 really wanting with all my heart to give birth naturally. Yes, I am that brave. Yes, I really want to go through that process, obviously, God willing. um I have stopped exercising. I stopped exercising in the second trimester. I know that really helps with having a positive natural birth, but I still have hope that regardless, I will still have a positive natural birth. And yeah, I can't wait to tell you guys about it. I can't wait to introduce you to my angel. I can't wait to take you along with my gender reveal. I also can't wait to find out, you guys. I really, really can't wait. I have my suspicions, and I have this preference that I have for a gender, but either way, whether it's a girl or it's a boy, he or she's going to be loved beyond. He or she is already so loved by the dad, by myself, by grandma, by aunts, all the aunts, blood aunts and chosen aunts. They all so obsessed with the baby. Blessed actually makes me send her videos and pictures of my belly, and she asks every time I have an appointment. She has it in her calendar, and she's the first to say, how did it go, how's the baby? And yeah, we're just super, super excited to meet this little angel. So yeah, feel free to tell me what you thought about my experience, from me sharing my symptoms and the way that I look, and sharing my cravings as well. Please let me know what you think I'm having. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? And let me know. And if you have anything negative to say, please, guys, refrain from it. This is not the platform. I will just delete it and ignore it. But I really do hope that you guys send positive vibes my way, and I cannot wait to start this journey of motherhood and share some of it, yeah, in moderation with you guys. I don't know um how open I'm going to be when it comes to my child. I might be a little bit protective, I don't know, but I will definitely share him or her as much as I possibly can. So yeah, thank you so much for respecting me once again. To those of you who have been have made the mistake of asking someone, are you pregnant, before they are ready to share, please do learn that it's not an appropriate thing when it comes to the female reproductive system. Do not ask a woman about her pregnancy. Do not ask why she's gained weight. It's sensitive. There could be lots of reasons why a woman has not shared that she's pregnant. So in future, please let's respect each other. Otherwise, guys, it's all love this side. It's all chubby cheeks. It's all swollen nose. It's all swollen feet. It's all round belly here. I cannot wait for the next preggy related video for you guys. I love you so much. God bless you. From Mama B. Yeah, I'm kidding, guys. Please don't call me Mama B. That's gonna make me feel so old. I already feel so old. So please continue to call me Sister B. Okay, you can call me Mama B for the period of like this pregnancy, and then we'll resume back to Sister B once I've given birth. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.